Welcome to 4D Part 2. 4D Part 2, the first part is to simplify I to any power. I know I have a problem here, but I'm going to actually move it down a little bit, and we're going to talk about I a little bit. Remember that I is equal to the square root of -1. So if I square I, that's -1. So if we continue, the first one was I to the first power. Now we have I to the second power. What if we do I to the third power? Well, to do this, it's really, really easy to see if you can get I to the third to look like I squared. It's all about I squareds here. So if we I squared raised to what power will give me 3. And as I see here, I can't raise it to a power of anything but 1. And 2 times 1 is only 2. So I need 3. So what you do is you're going to multiply by another I. And the reason why I'm doing this, I know you're probably a little lost right now, but I have an I squared here, and that is equivalent to -1. So put -1 raised to the 1 first power times I. -1 to the first power is -1, and then times I is -I. So I to the third power is equivalent to, simplified down to -I. If we do I to the fourth power, how many I squareds can I get out of I to the fourth? So I squareds can I get out of I to the fourth? And that would be 2. 2 times 2 is 4. That makes up all 4 of them, so I don't have to multiply by another I to get another I. We have I squared. It's always equivalent to -1. -1 squared is +1. So I to the fourth is +1. We keep going with this. I to the fifth. How many I squareds can I divide out of I to the fifth? That's 2. That only makes up 4. I need 5. So I multiply by another I to get 5. Because there's an equal sign here. They're equivalent. Now let's look what we can simplify. I squared, that's going to be -1. And -1 squared is 1. 1 times I is I. So it's a positive I. So we can use this to, let's go back up to the beginning. I to the 27th. How many I squareds can I divide out of I to the 27th? And that is 13. 2 times 13 is 26. There are 27 I's here. So we need one more I. So times I. That makes up 27. We have 26, and this will be the 27th. We can simplify the I squared to -1. -1 to the 13th is -1. -1 times I is -I. Let's move on to I to the 264th. You see that's a big number, but if we break it down, now how many I squareds can I get divided out of 264? So I just take 264 divided by 2, and that is 32. Sorry, 132. 2 times 132 is 264. And then I squared is -1. -1 to the 132nd. It's a positive exponent, so it's 1. -1 to the 132nd is 1. Moving on. Okay, now we're going to move into solving quadratics. And this is, we have 3x squared plus 4 equals 2. And to solve these, we need to get it into the quadratic equation. We make it equal 0. Always make it equal 0 when you have a quadratic and you're trying to solve it. To make it equal 0, the easiest way is to subtract 2x. Now if you're looking, the a, always the coefficient in front of the x squared. The b is always the coefficient in front of the x. And the c is always the a number with no variables. So we have A, B, and C. And we're going to actually use the quadratic formula. So opposite of B plus or minus the square root, B squared minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2A. So we're going to use this formula, substituting each number in the appropriate spot. If x equals the opposite of B plus or minus B squared minus 4 times A times C, all divided by 2 times A. So simplifying this, well, how I simplify it, nothing on the outside here to simplify it. When I look at, my first step is I just square the negative 2. 4. I take 4 times 3 times 4, and that is 48 over, and I simplify this bottom here, 6. That's all I do at that step. The next step, I know it's probably seems minor, but if you continue these same steps every single time, your odds of getting it wrong are very, very slim. 4 minus 48 is negative 44 over 6. Now at this point, this square root of a negative number, we've just worked on that. Square root of a negative number, we can simplify this. So it's square root of 44 times negative 1. Square root of 44, and we can break it up times negative 1. So 44 gets broken down into 22 and 2. 11 and 2. We have a pair of 2's that'll come out. So that's is equivalent to 2. There's from square root of negative 1, that's I. And the square root, there's 11 left over. So I'm going to replace the square root of negative 44 with 2i squared root 11. So x equals 2 plus or minus 2i square root of 11 over 6. And it'd be great if we were done here, but now we have to look to see if we can simplify this fraction. And I'll draw a nice little heart because it'll help you remember. 2, so each we have 2 terms in the numerator, the coefficients of 2, 2, and the denominator is 6. Those are all divisible by, you should be saying 2 right now. Divide that by 2, there's still a term there, so you have that 1. By 2 by 2, you get 1, and 6 by 2, you get 3. So in the end, we get 1 plus or minus. Now 1 times I is I, so we don't need to have that 1 there because there's already a number there to take its place. Over 3. And this is your final answer. Come to class with any questions. We're going to do this. We're going to work on 4A a little bit more in class. Maybe some word problems in class. Please come with any questions. Thank you.